Hey everyone, I'm Law.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honeys, which can be savory, which can be sweet, which can be sweet at the end. It's sweeties. Oh, I said it already. I blew my load. Oh, you guys, welcome to Docu Sweeties, honey, a podcast where we talk about, the television shows, and this one is, um, Love in Paradise, Season 3, Episode 3. Hit me, baby, one more time. My loneliness is killing me.
And I
I went too high. I was an awkward key. I did that and it's my fault. But listen, everyone involved in the 90-day universe, all of their lonelinessness is killing them. And the choices they've made to not die of loneliness is in fact the objective of the entire series. So it's really a theme. So how? Wow, I've just really bookended that. And it's Brittany. It's Brittany. It's always Brittany. Brittany's the end. So Brittany's the alpha and the omega. I can tie her back. So yeah, no, 6 degrees of Britney Spears. You know that. But we're going to start with Scott and Lydia, honey. And, I'll just say this. First of all, it's interesting because obviously a lot of this is going to be the fact that they do not speak the same language, which that they don't. But also, why can't I find a picture of them? Oh, they're there. There are translation devices that don't require Wi-Fi, right?
yeah, he's not as astute as
Yeah.
Paul and Karini, as Jamie and Chris. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. He didn't know to find the things that don't require Wi Fi. It's funny
Yeah.
though, because he understands that there is a language barrier, but he doesn't like understand it. And he just keeps on speaking English, thinking that she's just going to go, ah, yes, beach. Ah, yes,
Yes.
big
Both.
boat, deep sea,
Yes.
fishing.
Yeah, like you're absolutely right. He thinks that if he can just pepper in a Spanish word and use a gesticulation that she will get it through like some sort of like ESP osmosis, also just the context in so it is hilarious. And her reactions of just staring at him and being like, I don't know why he keeps talking to me. And you see me staring back at him being like, what? Okay, he it's interesting because this is another example like of someone who keeps asking crazy, you don't speak any English. And this kind of felt like Gabe and Isabel's situation with Gabe's sister, where it's just like, yeah, you're not even in America. So how can it be so crazy for you to think
maybe,
that this person doesn't speak English?
maybe it's because Americans are surrounded by English speaking folk to the north, and then there's water to the east and the west. And like, because a lot of states, a lot of countries in Europe are as big as like regular states in the US. And so we're just so surrounded by English that we don't recognize it. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not making an excuse for Americans, but I just think that sometimes folks in other places, especially Europe, understand about other languages because they're surrounded by it. But us here in the US, unless you're in a major city, you and I don't know, Scott, maybe he's only around Spanish speakers. And so even the Spanish speakers that he knows speak a little English. So now he's in a place and he's like, what? Maybe he's not a world traveler, but it was annoying. He was like being very, very American, and it was weird. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they go to the hotel and she's ordered two different rooms. And I don't know if she told him that she hasn't had sex in 12 years. But the fact that he says, es a grande problema, I was like, I'm getting the ick from Scott.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. You can who in their right mind, well, let me say it this way. It is interesting how men can feel entitled to a woman's comfort and trust in them when there's decades and years and not decades, centuries of mistreatment on their part. So yeah, it's like I guess they can't speak the same language. I don't understand how he feels the first night that she's going to be totally okay being in the same room with him all the time. Like it's just sharing the same bathroom, like, and also why he wouldn't want a little respite. I don't know. It's just yeah, to me it's like it's a crazy audacity. But I my only thought pattern is like, well, if they were really close and been talking for years and were really connected, maybe they would think this way, but they're not. Obviously, they don't even speak the same language. So they've had like rudimentary conversations. It's crazy that he think that she would just like jump in bed with him and be in the same room. And it's crazy to even remark on it. So I don't like him. And I don't like her. And this seems, icky icks creeps.
Yeah, it really does. So they go out dancing and he's not good at it.
She knows. She's like, he's gonna have gringo hips, and it's like, yeah,
But he thinks he's so good at it.
I know. He just, yeah.
And then, I mean, the worst part is when he finds the interpreter, which is kind of it gave me the cringe. Like I had secondhand embarrassment for him. But this is what it is when someone just feels so main character. He's giving main character energy 100%, and it's just like very quintessential American white man is what he's giving. And he thinks he's being so giving and open, but you want to sleep in a different bedroom is a problem type thing. And then him calling this person over and his chiste or his bromas, his jokes were not appropriate.
Yeah, it was like almost he says that he just got nervous, but that kind of stuff is like self-sabotage behavior because you know that no woman's gonna like want to, you know, you haven't connected at all. No woman's gonna want to hear about you being a polygamist. It's just it is disgusting. And he is yeah, this is not the best. Can we talk about how beautiful the hotel is that they're staying in? Like the lobby looks beautiful. Like when she like, comes down and there's like those cobblestones that look great. Also, this translator obviously was like signed up for this in some way, and um I don't know. They're really not connecting and there's no chem. And, it's interesting when she asks him how long it's been since he's been with a woman. And he says 5 months since sex, 2 years since love. And she's been 12 years. Like, it was interesting because I thought he was going to turn around and ask her it back because when you ask that kind of question, you do open the door for it to be, oh, well, that's okay. So I wonder if she would have answered if he had asked back because 5 months to 12 years is it's a big discrepancy.
It is. It really is a huge discrepancy. And that's what made me think that he maybe didn't know that it had been so long for her. So he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
understand what is needed in this situation. And he thinks that saying things like, would you have sex with me if I went to prison? And things
Right.
like, would you be my third wife? Is something weird. And it's not something to say to someone of her age and her stature. It's just like
Yes.
it is a juvenile way of you can be cute and kind of goofy and funny as a mature dater, but this is taking it too far. It's like he's very much used to dealing with somebody
Oh
who's
yeah.
like 25. So when he said he dates women between 30 and 46, I don't believe that at all with this line of conversation.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Here's the thing about it though, to say this, like, again, I didn't watch Family Chantel that much, but Lydia gets a lot of hate, and so does Nicole online. Like everyone's kind of like whatever, like, but they did find someone who arguably can be, even more annoying. So that part's good.
Yeah.
I love. Wait, did you see the little part for next?
Yes, next episode.
Oh,
This is in line with why people don't like Nicole and Lydia. The fact, I mean, listen, I get it. They're on a reality show, so they're doing what they need to do to stay relevant and to stay have people talking about them. The fact that he would even tell her that he had given somebody $17,000 is wild to me. But then it's even wilder that Nicole would say, "You've given somebody money, but you haven't given my mother a dollar." It's just so indicative of how sometimes folks think. Now, listen, I've already told you guys that I have had someone back home, someone from the places that my dad and my family are from, actually ask me for money. Folks have asked me for money while I'm there in front of them. Folks have asked me for money on Instagram. Folks, it for some reason it's a part of the way of being to ask your American relatives for money, just thinking like, oh, you live in America, you can just remake it, right? You're not going to go without. But here, it's harder for us to make money. It's harder for us to do X, Y, and Z. So why shouldn't our foreign or at least our American families give us money. But from the American side, unless you know that, it's really awkward when they ask you, especially if they're not even a cousin that, like, when you go there, they roll out the red carpet for you. Like my cousins who like make sure I have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner when I'm there, who take me and think about where they're going to take me and where we're going to go. Like, yeah, those are the cousins that I'm like, yeah, I'll send you some money, because when I'm there, you guys roll out the red carpet and you go above and beyond what you would normally do to to make sure that your American cousin is taken care of, and entertained. So it's just like, I don't like that Lydia and Nicole make it seem like everybody's going to be like that. But we'll see about April and Valentine, because he's asked her for money too. Let's move on to them, another Dominican Republic couple.
Oh, that's a good transition. That's a good transition. Okay, so here we are, and
Whew, Chantel and Pedro.
Yeah, that is it. But God, she is more fabulous than Chantel. Okay, I know, and I don't want to pit woman against woman, but this is a 2.0. This is, and I say that because
she's so successful. Listen, you say that because, and it's not even putting down Chantel. Chantel
was kind of was. I just like, but yes.
There's no way that 22-year-old Chantel, when she went to the Dominican Republic or fell in love with Pedro, can compare to a late 30, maybe early 40s April, who has done the thing that most people have a hard time doing one time in their life, which is gone and become a doctor.
Did you say gaunt? Gaunt?
I said gone. I was going to say gone to get her whatever, but that's wrong tense or whatever. Okay. Has gotten her doctorate, or no, has become a doctor. I don't know what it is. She's
PhD, or
I don't know what it is to become a doctor.
MD.
You have to go to
MD.
Yeah, MD. And she's a lawyer. I mean, she's not a lawyer, but she got a law degree.
She's crazy. No, she's crazy. She's like, her mental state and the constantly cleaning. I mean, this person is a wound up type A, like this feels, that's like, my initial was like, oh my God, like there's a lot in her of perfectionism. And I see that within her, like there probably is a lot of like intense critical thoughts in her mind that pushes her to excellence. Sorry, what?
Oh, I would have not thought that. I just thought she was just like maneuvering on a higher plane of existence than me, and I strive. I strive to be the most organized and put together person on the planet, to the point where like there are times where I'm on it, and then there are times where I am not because of that. I can't maintain it. Right now, I feel like my home is in a shambles. But I think it's natural ebb and flow of me pushing myself that sometimes I crash. And I'm on the ground right now looking around.
Yeah. And April seems like she's on a pedestal above you, honey. And you're just like, yes. But no, we're seeing April at her finest. She's a gorgeous woman. We see her just like living her life, pulling up in a maroon Corvette, honey, putting on a NYX lip gloss, honey. I mean, this is my kind of intro, she's like giving me like black luxury in a way that I just like, it makes me want to melt, like the Louis Vuitton, like the heels, like the coiffed hair, that she's just radiating. At least she's radiating to me. And again, I've said this, that I hope that she has like a lot of self-care, because she's radiating such a very powerful, strong image. And I just can imagine at what level she's at, that she also is a very disciplined person. And I wish the best for her, because I can imagine the work she's doing to, get it all done.
I would like to think, yeah, she is definitely sitting in like black luxury, but I also love the fact that she's single and that all of the luxury is done from her own machinations and her own skill set. 1, 2, I would love it if she just had like a personal assistant and a maid. Like, what I mean? She must have someone come and clean the home to like do it to the level that she requires. So in my mind, like that is I'm like, I just want someone to come clean my home, and I want someone to help me organize. That is what I want for her, as well for me. She's playing tennis, and for the first time in my life, I wanted to go play tennis with her.
Okay.
And so she has her sisters there, and she tells her sisters about Valentine. And they're like, why you always gotta go back? Or not always, why do you have to go over the country? You're a beautiful woman. And she's just like, listen, I'm looking for a man who can just love me for me, and I don't have to be in either he is made to feel less than by me and what I have going on, or he's looking to outshine me. And I love that because I think it's so true. To me, it's the Mariah Carey. It is the I don't know about J Lo, not J Lo. It's the Mariah Carey effect where you just like get a young man. Did Madonna do it too? You just get a dancer, someone who like understands your
A
world.
dancer. I love you. I wish you want April to get a dancer. Oh my god, you need we yes, yes.
Valentine is the dancer. Like she owns the fitness clubs. She is a doctor. She has a law degree, and then she just like dates the man who can like personal train. You know?
You know, it takes all types to make a world, and whatever compliments you and makes you feel good, you know? Like I think that oh, if I don't know if I can do this, but this is where it brings her happiness and peace. What I want to know is what do you believe that her sisters really truly did not know about him until this Tennessee? Because there was
Yes.
something okay.
Oh, go ahead.
There was something about them being like, is that why you always go to the trips to the DR? And I guess I was like, these are your sisters. They don't you can tell them.
I mean, I don't tell my family everything. In fact, little to nothing. If they don't
Okay.
come on these here internet streets and see what I'm about, they wouldn't know. And I'm not hiding it. It's out there for the world to see.
I love the fact that her, like, yeah, she's just like from a very prominent family in Louisiana. Her dad's like a judge in Louisiana. Like, that's one of those things where it's like Southern law is such a thing, you know, like it's just it feels like My Cousin Vinny, you know, it feels like it's one of those cultural things. And I mean culture community things like like old-fashioned families and Southern law, like we know obviously they're black, which is a whole different thing, but like when you have dynasties, lawyers and
Yep.
stuff like that's just like a different thing. And the Southern part is crazy, like the Murdaugh thing. There's just I don't know that life because my family was never in the law world and we're not in the South. But you know, for her to say it, I just like brought up a bunch of things like, oh, I wonder what her life was like. You know, as a judge, they had to go to like a lot of events, and you know, it is that thing where I know that they just expect greatness from her. Not expect, it's like it is require because it is like the legacy, the investment of how they have been. I don't know. It
Yeah.
set up something for me that when we are now obviously shown him and he is, you know, with his mom and his sisters talking about, well, she better be okay, honey, just like coming wherever, you know, it's just like it's quite a different God, it's very different
It's very
ideologies.
intentional. Yeah, it's very intentional. I think the reason why, and I understand what you're saying, is because I am often very like something very strong in those black folks who stayed in the South after slavery, after Jim Crow and everything, and B, to then build upon that situation a dynasty and a legacy, if you will. And there is this kind of expectation that you would marry somebody who can keep the family expectations going because you know they've come so far. But at the same time, I do understand April's frustration because at a certain point, you know, when women no longer needed men for, you know, financial stability, you didn't have to get married in order for that to happen in your life. Then she goes and does this. And I know that it's hard for her, especially, not especially, but, you know, within the community, because some men, again, would try to like kind of argue with her or be upset with her for having that. And maybe because a lot of folks want kids, even if they truly don't want to take care of them, like they don't want to actually like raise them, they would like just their wife to do it. I think some men have this idea that like their wife should have kids. And I don't know how old she is, but she don't got no kids.
Yeah, no, but she says that their love is unconditional. And it's unconditional because, in her mind, he has no money and she's okay with that. But what she doesn't understand is, oh, I think it might also be conditional because you're the one that has money. Just a thought. And then my other, like
Yeah.
just wondering. And I think that what also is hard is, yes, the sisters find out that she has been sending him money. And it is difficult to think of someone, just giving of themselves and wondering what they are getting back. And like, and not just getting back, like more like, because you can say she's getting back love, but it's like, oh, but is she also not giving love as well? So she's giving love and money? Okay, so the other guy's just giving love, but what is it? So much more love than her? It's just an interesting. You want the best for your loved one. So we see her also on a plane, and this gave me like LOL vibes, honey, because pre-COVID, uh, Naomi, one word
Campbell?
only, yeah,
Oh.
would fly and wipe down everything, and like sometimes like travel like in like hazmat suits and stuff like that.
So
So
did Lisa Rinna.
you're absolutely right. I wrote down on the note Lisa Rinna first, but then I remember that Naomi was the first to do it, and so I erased Lisa Rinna because I thought she was not as exciting of an option because Naomi's Naomi. So yeah, she wipes everything down. It looks like a Delta, seat. She says it's first class. It's sometimes first class really does not look like first class anymore, honey. When she said that, I was like, oh, I know she's right, because that's how shitty first class is right now, and you can only imagine from looking at that seat how small the other option was. Oh God, it is not what it is. But anyway, she really does clean there, honey, and she's she's gonna get there and meet the fam, and it's the underworld. It's not of where she's used to. That's what he says, the underworld, which I thought was an interesting choice of words.
Yeah, I think I'm like, why did you choose to use that about your own, like, neighborhood, your own barrio, if you will? Because I mean, I need to see the inside of the house to really understand quite what he means. And I know they were like cleaning up because she's coming. I wonder how much Spanish she speaks. I didn't get that. I didn't get if they have a language barrier because they've just been talking for less than a year or about a year, the same time as Scott and Lydia. And it just breaks my heart when she said that he asked her for money, and she's like, it wasn't a lot. And I'm like, what does that to mean you? What does that mean to you, rich lady? What is a lot?
Yeah, oh yeah,
mean
you're
to
not
you?
giving any fucking numbers. And she knew she wasn't giving numbers. No, she was like, but basically, yeah, we'll see what happens with them. Anything else about
Yeah.
them, babe?
No, nothing.
I'm moving on, and I'm picking it. It's Jordan Everton. Okay.
Hmm. I agree.
She looks like a blue-eyed Kyle Richards to me a little bit.
Yes.
Unless Kyle Richards has blue eyes, I can't remember, but this girl's eyes are so either like very big and or like bluish. They're just like blue, but she was like, it took me a minute, but yeah, she's Kyle Richards, right?
Yep, 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 yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So she gets off the plane and we see that something's wrong with her, but we don't quite know why because the last time we see her, she's packing. So she's packing her clothes and she's like, gotta pack light. And I was like, is this a Erica Badu reference? Pack light. Mm, mm.
Did you see
So
Erica Badu at the Met Gala?
I did not. They showed me everybody but Erica.
Mm.
I gotta look. So I thought it was a bag lady reference, and she's putting everything in her bag. She's like, not that much because I don't wear very much. And I was like, fair enough. And we find out that she's going to Jamaica, not Cayman Islands, to meet his family because it's really important. And he's excited and she's excited. She feels like it's a moment to take a next step in their relationship. And let us not forget, as we learned last episode, Patreon, that did we say that this is a Patreon exclusive thing? Did you guys know that?
We didn't know that. So I don't we didn't know that. Wow, what are you talking about?
I thought we did. Anyways, so they oh yeah. So anyways, so then she says that she's made a big jump in her life and she trusts him so much that she took out a mortgage on her home. And we're all like, how does that prove that the trust? How does that prove that it's worth it?
I know. So basically, yeah, then it gets confusing because she gets a voicemail. Okay, this doesn't happen on camera, so we get to hear what happens, and then all we get is her demeanor after, which is a comatose state, reminiscent of Nicole and Mahmoud. Where okay, let me tell you. So that's what I thought of. So she, obviously she's been traveling, and as we know, it's the airplane mode, right? So the airplane mode happens. She gets off the fucking plane. She takes off the airplane mode, and she gets a voicemail from someone she does not know that has changed everything. Okay. And then we see them together. It's like them, like she had just come off the plane and he's like, oh, her hand around, or I don't even know if their hand around, like might be like trying to touch her. I'm so happy to see her and we're going to have fun or whatever. And her face is like, now listen, on Patreon, you can see me doing a Nicole and Mahmoud kind of just like, it was a wide-eyed, I'm gone in this moment. I'm trying to be here in this moment. I do not know what to say in this moment. I want the ground to swallow me in this moment. There's a shot of them also walking out, maybe of like the doors of the luggage, and there is a space between them. He obviously can feel something's up. These people have been like, these are people that have been on and off for years, like 12 years. It's not, again, this is not Scott and Lydia, so it's like he knows her very well, so there's not a chance in hell that he's not seeing that there's a zombie where this person was. And it's a cold ice zombie that he's done fucked up. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we know the call is from a woman. Because only a woman would be. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Everyone just get off of Facebook. Anytime anyone gets any kind of crazy information, it's someone on Facebook saying something like, who is this woman to talk to Jordan? Go ahead. You look confused.
Wait, because she said it was a voicemail. So why do you say it's a Facebook?
Oh, doesn't Facebook have some way for you to call people?
Is this from, I'm asking, did they say it was from Facebook?
No, I just assumed it was. All the shit goes down on Facebook.
I just know, baby. When I said voicemail, I definitely assume not voice note or voice message. Voicemail to me seems like this person done dialed. There was like boop, boop. And then it was just like, hey, it's Jordan. I'm a nudist. Like, I'm just like so nude all the time. Like, do you want some titty pasta? Come to my house. Bye. Beep. And this person was like, bitch, I've been fucking your man,
Okay, we'll see. We'll find out. But you're right. There was I just, in my mind, whenever someone has messaged someone, it's always on fucking Facebook. And I'm like, I don't want that shit.
But she got a voice. I thought okay, well, we have to go back now because,
No, you're right. It is a voicemail. I just assumed it was from Facebook.
Sometimes while you just like assume things that I just like, how did you make that jump though? Like, okay.
Because how could this is my thought. My thought is that he's been dating some other foreigner, right? Some other person from the islands.
Okay.
And like, the only way for them to contact her is if they're friends on Facebook. And on Facebook, you can like do things.
You know what? I see what you're saying, but you know what? I guess in my mind, now that if you're going to bring up someone foreign, then the first thing that comes to mind is like, she got a WhatsApp message.
No, you're right. But there could be a voicemail left on that too.
You're right.
So you're right. Maybe not Facebook. So maybe it was WhatsApp. Or maybe this person is American. Maybe this person is American who visited the Cayman Islands, did a little do with him, saw that they were friends on Facebook, somehow used their sleuthing ability on the internet to find her. But oh God. I mean, to me, it is absolutely messy for me to insert myself and tell someone that their man is cheating on them, unless I was in love with their man and he was doing me dirty as well. That's the only time I could see it being possible. But otherwise, if I found that some man that I just, in my travels around to different bars, had some relations with, thought that we were cool, and then later found out that he was married with kids, I would just block him and pretend like that shit never happened and go about my business. Like, I don't... So, anyways, that person
interesting.
Did that. Go ahead.
Yeah, interesting transition though, because that's also the storyline of what's going to happen next episode for the last couple, which is weird because like so that we can see, how often such a thing can occur.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Wait, I just want to talk about this. Well, okay, obviously, I have not had that many like intense relationships. There's never been a time where a woman has ever messaged me about anyone that I've ever been with romantically to tell me about that person, or at least I don't think that happened. Like in
No,
some sort of like jealousy, any sort of like, let me tell you about this person kind of way.
it hasn't happened to me, but the moment it does, I'm going to be very angry. Like I don't
At who?
it depends on the situation. Like
Okay.
if I just don't want to be reached. I don't know.
Don't reach out to you.
Don't reach out to me. I'm not fucking gonna reach out to you too, unless it's like he gave you HIV and you need to reach out to me because now you're like, oh my god, you could have an STD and he won't tell you. Like then reach out to me. But otherwise, if it's just to tell like I don't know. Again, it would only concern me, and the only time I would do it is if I was in love with that person. And if that woman reached out to me because she was in love with my man and she wanted to tell me in order to let me know that he's playing us both, if we were married, I would block her and continue my marriage and like have a conversation with him or like continue like for the if I was in love, yeah, I would fucking like I don't want to know this. Leave me alone. Like he and I will talk about it. Thank you for telling me, and all the best to you.
Well, thank you for telling me. So then, are you happy that she told you?
No, that would just make
Oh,
me
okay.
upset. But I would, here's the truth. I
If he's
guess I
cheating
just
on you and in love with someone, you just never want to know. You want to live in ignorance is bliss.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest
Mm.
with you. Like if I ever fall in love with someone again, and I'm very happy regardless of whatever they're doing, and as long as I don't have to hear about it and I don't get an STD, I don't want to know.
But what if you're sharing money and he's giving money to her?
Okay, then I want to know.
Right. Great. So, yeah, as you can tell, we're going to move these onsies to our last Coops Badoops, and that is Juan and Jessica, and then let's be honest, the entire family, because it's not just. Why is it so hard for me to find?
I just literally I want Juan to cut and run. Now I know Jessica's pregnant, but Dawson or Dalton or whatever his name is, mm-mm. Why didn't they tell him that he did? Why didn't they tell him before he went and got that cereal that the boy likes dry cereal?
Why didn't she do it?
That's what I'm saying. Why didn't either her or Megan?
Yeah, it was set up. It was all set up. So let's talk about it. So I saw okay. First of all, truly, I don't have a picture for them because
It's
these are that person, these people. This is maybe a couple. By the way, you're on Patreon. You'll see there's like another couple, maybe or maybe not. We don't know those people, and we are they coming later. But yeah, I will say this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a picture of them. It's crazy.
it's fine.
Um,
You don't
okay,
need
my
it.
love. So let's talk about it. So, she's landed with the boys, Dayton and Dawson, and her friend Megan, and Juan has picked him up in the car, and he has gotten an Airbnb, and it is gorgeous. It's called Casablanca, and it truly is Casablanca with all these towheads coming in. Ha ha ha. Anyway, God bless. So, but he's done a great job with like pools, with floaties, and he's really thought about a fun place. And then also she drops the fact that like, he makes a lot of money. So he can do this, which is the first time I have ever feel like we ever get the American being like, oh, the foreigner makes a lot of money, which is great, right? Great. I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. But like, not really, because I don't want him to like spend the money on this family that like, isn't whatever, I think. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I want to point that out, because in every other situation, it's like, well, he, scrapes together $2, being a bartender on this thing or whatever. And so, I mean, Juan is bringing home the bacon, whether
Mm-hmm.
Dawson, whatever his name is, going to eat it, we'll know. But anyway, haha. So he's also just like, not only gets a great place, he's like trying to like make it home. He got food for them, and she gets there with her, Megan. They all have horrible tattoos. They all like are in yoga clothes, but they're not doing any yoga. Like she hasn't brushed her hair in so long, like she and him are like making it on the bed while the kids run around, and she like is like, I'm pregnant, but we gotta tell the kids, tee hee hee. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna get it in, and the kids are screaming.
Oh my God. I want him to run. I think that listen, kids are picky, but there's two ways to go about it. And what's her face has gone about it the way of the laissez faire, the way of the just like, well, we'll just keep going to the kitchen to get him what he wants. I mean, at some point, you just have to make Dawson tell you what it is that he wants. Like now he has to come up with a plan. Okay, you don't want to eat what we're eating, then you need to wake up every morning and say, okay, I will eat these three things or something. I know kids who are picky who do that, who their mothers are like, well, if you don't want this and this, then you need to come up with a solution because it's not going to be this back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, He's not used to that. Neither am I. He's used to the lifestyle where you're relatively poor, you don't have that many options, and your mother makes a meal. And if you don't want to eat it, then you don't eat. And he's like, I would never behave that way. And let me tell you, it is not, it is, it is one of the most frustrating things to be around someone who is raising their kids, completely different than you were raised and any other child you've known has been raised. And Dawson seems like he just wakes up grumpy. Give that baby some coffee, because he was mad from the moment he opened his eyes. And the way he was acting about the eggs was like, not, it was just like so he was being petulant. He was being a child. And that's what
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're about to say it.
yeah, he's being a petulant child, but like not all children who have that in them behave that way, because their parents put some kind of boundaries on it. But what Jessica's just like smiling, looking at Juan like, you're gonna have to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to deal with this. And I think to myself, Jessica, why don't you help Juan by dealing with it yourself?
Yeah.
So that he
Why?
feels that you are on his side and that you understand that your kids are kind of wild. Instead of just telling your kids to behave or he's not going to like you. That was crazy. Go ahead, Chris.
I hated it. No, I hated it. No, I listen. I didn't like that part. I think that, I don't want to mom shame Jessica. Good for her. She has a lot on her plate, I'm sure. I also feel like Dawson, is a little fucking child who's in a brand new country, who's like, doesn't understand really what's happening. And like, his man's around. And so he's bound to act up. But really, what truly is confusing, it feels like that Jessica's putting this on display to either teach Juan a lesson or whatnot, but it just looks like lazy parenting. It just is like, I guess that's how it reads, and that's the edit that she can probably suppose she's going to get with that kind of behavior, and yeah, I don't love watching it. I really don't. It doesn't feel great to watch. It's the part where you were just like, ugh. But so anyway, at this meal, which, already is an appetizing, it gets even more because they start talking about what it smells like back at home, which of course we've already talked about, which is horrible. It smells horrible. And he's like, why don't you ever tell me about this? And it's like, yeah, I really want to understand every part of what moving to where Jessica lives is going to be. It is not just, it is so vastly different in every way. And can you imagine I can't smell something horrible for a long time. I am bougie scent wise. I love oils and candles and cleanliness. I found a multi-purpose cleaner that I got from Air One that was $16. That was one of the best smelling multi-purpose cleaners of my whole life. And I bought a pack of 6 on Amazon so I can have it in my life, because because it is just, I cannot be around, because that's how important it is to me. Okay. I'm a bougie scent person. So I don't want this life for Juan. I'm so happy that he makes money, like I want him to like live his life, and if he just has to send some money now, Jessica, to the new child, that's what it is. But I think that, and maybe I'm like, can the child move in with him? I don't know. I just like, I don't love the way any of this feels. And it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. No, Chris, you're absolutely right. I don't want him to leave paradise for stinky ass Torrington. Like the fact that it snows a lot and then there's flies everywhere because of the shit. No. Juan needs to say no to that, because he's going to go to Wyoming and break her heart. It is. Chris is like, okay, I'm being quiet. I'm going to put my finger up, but then I'm not going to put myself on mute so we could still hear everything that's happening. You hear? Let me try to put her on mute. Anyways, it is so crazy to me that this is happening. It is. I need to tell Juan. I need to write him a letter and tell him to say no and not to come to the U.S. because it is, unless she's planning on moving to somewhere nice in South Dakota, or I don't know. Go ahead, Chris.
Here's the thing. So But it's great fodder for television, you know? I think that it's gonna be good. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I would love to have happen. Wouldn't it be great if Juan and Megan hooked up?
Jessica?
No.
Oh, wow.
You guys, I would die. But also, this is for A, Juan, if he goes to the smelly place, and also, oh, who's the rich one?
Jessica? Oh, April.
April. This is quality, but look, this is unsponsored. This is that kitchen cleaner that I love, honey. I mean, it smells so good. It's unbelievable. I guess it says kitchen cleaner. The other one I got was multi-purpose cleaner.
What
Oh,
does it
natural
smell like?
multi-purpose. Okay, Australian lemon, myrtle, and mandarin essential oil. It is unbelievable. I cannot, and it's like all really, really healthy. Oh my God, I could just like, it's like I want to put it on myself. Oh, it's great, but also very clean. So,
What does it
um,
smell like?
did you not hear what I said?
Oh, that's it? It smells like orange?
Lemon, myrtle, and
Or
mandarin essential oil. So it is, yeah, like it is citrus blossoms
okay, citrus
with
blossoms.
a little like basil almost underneath, but like
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's
Okay.
unbelievable. Anyway, so having said all that, that is what's happening with them, and you know, I am going to be a little excited to see what happens, as I've already said, because she does get a voicemail or something, honey. I don't know. Maybe she does get a Facebook message. Maybe it is a Facebook message about someone who also was on, you know, on top of him. No, I'm just kidding. Got in hooked up with Juan. So and then it's like the way they phrase it is I can't quite tell if that had happened in the past and she's still gonna hold it over him to like feel like she has to like have trust come back, or if that happens in real time in the moment. We could be sharped. So I want, you know, I've already been
Yeah.
burned so many, I've been sharped so many times that if I feel like a little poke coming through on me, you know, I flinch and I want to like protect you guys.
Thank you. Isn't she so selfless? She wants to
Hmm.
protect us.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right, you guys. So that is the end of this episode. We want to thank you so much for joining us. If you, I mean, yeah, you guys probably already, because you're Patreon, you probably already follow us on social medias. So great. Thank you for doing that. So easy. So easy. I didn't have to like remember to take a break. I didn't have to, oh yeah, her show.
Also, you guys, if you're in the Los Angeles area in June, I am debuting a brand new solo show. It's a personal solo show at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. It's called Lebanese Debutante, and it's a personal coming of age story starring me. I wrote it about me going through a debutante brawl process when I'm 15. So there are many different dates and different times because it is a fringe festival. But if you are in the Los Angeles area in June, think about coming out. You can look it up either on my website or on my Instagram or um, the HFF site, Lebanese Debutante. But basically, I would love to see you guys. And yeah, thank you so much.
And I'll be there on June 15th, that showing. So if you want to meet me and see Chris, we can sit next to each other. So come on down.
Well, maybe we could do a meetup after or something like that because that 15th is a 5 p.m. showing.
Okay. If you're not
So
tired. Yeah.
great. Okay, so all things to think about. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Of course, follow at DocuSweeties on our socials, at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on Twitter, at DocuSweeties1, and at DocuSweeties on TikTok.
Yay. All right, you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.